Hey everyone, welcome to the Reddit branch. Today we have interesting stories from Reddit that I would love to hear your opinion about. So feel free to let me know what you think down in the comment section. If you enjoy the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for content like this every day. First story. I broke up with my boyfriend after he made disparaging comments about my job, and now he wants to try and work through it. I could use some advice. First time on Reddit. I hope I'm doing this right. My boyfriend, 28 male, and I, 26 female, had a really big fight last weekend. It boils down to I'm happy in my career and he thinks I'm playing around and need to do what he wants me to do. I'm a paramedic. I was an EMT for several years, then took the courses and training to become a paramedic. I have wanted to be a paramedic ever since I was a teenager, and a paramedic saved my uncle. He wants me to go to medical school and become a proper doctor. I have always been honest with him and said I did not intend to ever do this. The final fight came in when a coworker of his, who I was meeting for the first time, asked me what I did. I told her I was paramedic. She began asking me a couple questions which I answered. It was a short exchange. On the way home, he was seriously pissed because I embarrassed him by talking about my pretend medical job like it was important. I got upset and told him that my job was important. He told me being a doctor was being important, being a paramedic was just playing around. I told him without paramedics and EMTs, sometimes the doctor wouldn't have someone to save. He sort of scoffed and said I was giving myself too much credit. When we got back, I immediately left back to my apartment. He blew up my phone saying how ridiculous I was being and that clearly I know he was right since I was being childish about it. I called it off a couple days ago and told him that I deserved someone who respected me and my work and wasn't constantly trying to make me into something else. His tone immediately changed and he was sorry, he didn't mean it like that, he wouldn't do it again, and we can work it out. I told him no and that I was tired of him belittling my job as unimportant. Ever since, he's been texting me trying to make it right. He sent me flowers, he even tried to come by my job to show interest. I wasn't even there, I was on a call. A good portion of me thinks that he had his chances and he blew it every time. A small part of me still cares a lot about him though and wants to make it work. My partner at work is happy I dropped him because she says I seem lighter, but my mom thinks I should give him another chance because maybe he had a change of heart. I thought I would ask for some neutral third-party advice on the situation. Should I give him another chance or should I just let the relationship die? What do you guys think I should do? People replied in the comments with, I think you should move on. The way he disparaged your job seemed like he wanted to break you down. He wanted to hurt you on purpose. What kind of jerk doesn't know that paramedics are important, especially when their girlfriend is one? He said you embarrassed him by talking about your work when someone asked you? Nah, those are his true colors in my opinion. You don't need that voice in your ear. It's absolutely ridiculous that he didn't take you seriously until you broke things off, despite you standing up for yourself, despite him knowing how much you love your job, despite you giving him reasons why paramedics are important. Nothing mattered until you broke it off. Nothing has changed actually. What's now changed is his relationship status, not your job. In time, his disdain for your job will creep up again in the form of snide comments and lots of shade, because at the end of the day, he has zero respect for your job. Lastly, what you're up against isn't you just being a paramedic, it's much more than that. You're up against his ego. At the end of the day, he's embarrassed you're a paramedic and he wants his girlfriend to be a medical doctor for his ego, pride and status, nothing more. Imagine having kids with him. Your kids would be forced to study a field only he thinks is good enough. I worry if they want to be a paramedic or worse, an artist or actor or something that puts him in a rage, because it makes him look bad. That poor kid. Let him go. You absolutely deserve to be with someone who holds your profession with a complete respect and wants to support you because it's who you are, not who they want you to be. And thank you for your hard work, your tireless dedication, and for what you do, especially in today's pandemic climate. It's not easy. You have my utmost respect. Now for my personal opinion, she should walk away. How he spoke about her job was very upsetting. EMTs are very important, and as someone in the medical field, I know for a fact doctors will not be able to function well without them. It is possible he had a change of heart, but I personally don't think so. Next story. I am going to court to testify against going to my dad's, and I don't know how to tell him that I don't want to go to his house, because of what he and his wife did to me while I lived with them for 5 years. I am 16 female and I have been living with my dad, roughly 57 male, for the last 5 years. I hated every moment of it, and school became my safe zone and my drowning zone. During those years, I was belittled and always in fear of my dad or my stepmom, roughly 36 female, exploding at me. I was neglected in my health and nearly starved to maintain a weight that was incredibly unhealthy. Just last year, during the pandemic, I finally got away. I thought I wouldn't ever have to see him again, besides talking to him through text. When I was with him, or near him, I was miserable. I wouldn't speak or talk to them unless they talked to me. I wasn't my usual lively self, always being shut down when I did try to suggest things. For school things, whatever I wanted to do, I had to ask them, and I hated to do it. I hated to ask them for anything. When I did, they would just nod or completely forget about it. They never let me do what I like. For example, I was doing choir one year. I loved it, and I loved to sing my heart out. I was so happy. I loved to stand up there with them and sing. And we even got first place at a tournament we went to. But that next year, when I happily marked it down to do choir again, they shut it down and said no, saying it was a waste of time and marking down what they wanted, what they would like for me to do, including business. Thank God I didn't get that. Another incident like this was a class field trip to go to the state capital and discuss some things with people. I'm not too sure, but it was something to that degree. He made a promise. He would sign the permission slip. And said that he would allow me to go if my mom paid for it. I agreed and told my mom about it. Now my mom is a waitress and doesn't really get much, mainly because they garnish her checks for child support, despite my father rarely using it on me. She gave me about $3 in a change and then a few dollars which included my own, and it all added up to $10. When I showed my dad, he didn't react, up until he realized most of it was change, and then he laughed. He told me I could go and told me to put my money where I could find it. All those days following up to the field trip, I didn't get in trouble. Not once. I was nervous or quitting. Then the day of the field trip, he confiscates my money, emails my history teacher and tells me I cannot go. I was heartbroken and cried all day, hating that he would do that. After school, he gave me my money back, and it was surprisingly still there. A few days later, it was all gone, including the coins. I asked my dad and stepmom about it, and they feigned innocence. And all the times I was called fat, I cannot count. It got to the point that when I looked down, all I could see was a fat belly, and that's all I saw in the mirror. Only did I get to my mother's did I realize just how skinny I was. Now I did go to the doctor when I was young, and I had to go to the eye doctor. I had terrible eye care, and then a year after that I was only taken to the dentist, never the doctor. Whenever I felt sick, I went to school, never telling them. I was afraid to. Hell, when I first had my period, I didn't even tell them. Not until they found out, via my underwear. I was also made to wear my old glasses for 3 years, only getting new ones when my mom paid for them. Then recently, I got new ones. Apparently, wearing those old ones made my eyesight so bad that even the eye doctor asked how the hell I could see. Then there's my stepmom. She's a complete and utter witch to me, demanding I do stuff that she's very well capable of, and making me do all the chores in the house. The kids don't lift a finger, unless I'm gone. Oh, my second oldest is cleaning his room, why don't you do something like him? Then the whole incident about how I got to go to my mother's. Now I'm a little ditzy. A few days, or maybe one later, I was told to take the dogs in. We had 2 small ankle biters. I went to break them in, but as I opened the door, stepmom told me not to push against the gate. We had a gate up against the door, so the dogs wouldn't constantly scratch at it. I was confused by this and went over the gate. I pushed the gate a little and she ran over, squeezing my arm and growling at me. What did I say? Are you stupid? She asks, her fake nails piercing into my skin. Get, she interrupts me. Don't push on the gate, now go get the dogs. I did so and shut the door behind me. Now both dogs are at the fence where they are trying to bark at the neighbor's dogs. I attempted to catch them both, and while doing so, I noticed my shirt was red. I looked at my arm and saw little marks where she had held my forearm. I went inside after taking the dogs and slipped my shirt off. When I got to the office/room, I slipped on another shirt. She didn't say anything. I soon went to my mom's and she immediately noticed the marks and took a picture of them when we got home. She contacted the United States Department of Homeland Security and issued an emergency custody. The months leading up to him receiving the child support papers, he barely called me, barely texted me, and when he did, it was short and sweet. I have only seen him in person twice, since mom got me. His excuse? I don't feel well, maybe next time? I don't know if you got COVID, get a test. We don't want to risk out our youngest getting sick. He has asthma. The youngest did have complications at birth, but he's a healthy football-playing 10-year-old. I haven't seen him heaving for presses at any of the games. I guess my questions are these. What can I do to make it known to him that I do not want to visit him nor live with him? How do I gain enough courage to say to his face all the reasons why I don't want to stay with him? Thank you all and I hope you can help me. People replied in the comments with, I think you should write something similar to what you have written here and read it out in court. You have to say everything you feel and make sure your voice is heard. Reading it may help you get it out and you can focus on the page rather than worrying about your dad. You have to do what's right for you. Don't worry about your dad. You may not have to explain, you can just say at 16 that you want to live with your mother. However, if you have to say something, then write out the facts that you can prove. Take proof if you can get it. Glass's appointment was 3 years apart, should be every year. Your father denied you a trip at the last moment, emailed your teacher in the day. You choose to do activities like choir as you love it, but you got denied your choice by them the next year, stating that they were pointless and to do once they approved of without your input, so you felt not listened to and devalued for your interests. You also have the scratches and marks to prove that she hurt you. If you focus on the parts that are actual neglect, you can be taken more seriously. If you just say that you do not like doing more chores, that will sound more like you're just being a rebellious teenager. You can also point out the fact that despite arranging visits, you have only seen him twice in X months at his request, showing a lack of interest which makes you feel not valued as his daughter. Write all this out. It is easier to read it out loud when you need to and not forget anything. If you don't need it, you can just give it to him. Courts will listen to things that they deem as damaging to your self-esteem and self-worth, as well as actual neglect and abuse. Avoid feelings and things that can be seen as complaints about unfair treatment. For example, you get to do more chores than the other when you are there. Now for my personal opinion, I think the commenter's idea of writing something similar to this post for court is amazing. I don't know much about legal stuff, but I believe what the poster described is the literal meaning of abuse. That father is a piece of trash, to be honest. Hope he never comes close to her again. This concludes all the stories we have for this video. Thank you so much for watching and I hope you enjoyed it. Please feel free to share your opinions in the comment section down below. Until next time.